Somebody say personality traits. You know that, Mama, sometimes we are so spiritual that we don't believe that every one of us has personality traits. You know God from family. You came from a family. A mother gave birth to you. A father gave birth to you. There are traits we have inherited from our parents. In fact, the moment you are born into this world, you are born with certain genes. So what happens is that we have negative personality traits and then we have positive personality traits. But you see, many times people say, that is how I was created. It's part of me. So even when it's negative, it's what? Part of me. If it's positive, it's part of me. But here is the thing. It is not every trait that you are born with that you should continue to develop. Some of them need to be killed. I've taken my time to study about people who were born in all the months. And sometimes we don't know that these studies inform us of the people we are dealing with. When you begin to notice some kind of traits inherent in you that are abnormal or making you to behave abnormally, you need to deal with it. Those are part of the things that lead or causes mental illness. It can move from level A to B, C until it gets to Z. And when it gets to Z, it means you don't need to see just a psychologist or a psychotherapist. You need to see a psychiatrist. And the thing is this, psychiatry, we are having issues with psychiatry because psychiatrists will always let you or tell you that your matter can only be resolved by drugs. And the painful thing again is that the more they shoot some of these drugs into a person who does not really need the drug, it begins to weaken the person, it damages the brain cells, it destroys the neurons, and as it destroys the brain cells and the neurons, the neurotransmitter begins to send wrong signal to the body, and then it can also cause physiological issues for that person. Somebody who did not have liver issues can have liver issues because the person has been subjected to certain drugs that are not needed for the body. This is why the first call, when you notice that you are having some kind of abnormalities in behavior, you need to see a psychologist or a psychotherapist. These are people who use talk therapy, sound therapy, and other kind of methodologies under CBT to arrest the issue. But the moment you go to a psychiatrist, the first thing they look at you as you are talking, they're looking at your eyes. Okay. Before you know it, they prepare the word for you. I have a friend in Sweden. She was a singer. So she contacted me. She needed help. And while I was talking with her, I discovered that she needed both psychotherapeutic intervention and spiritual intervention. So I began to ask her some questions. What happened to her was that she went with her son to the place and she committed an offense. Now, he said they were going to take the son from her for a while. She said, no, the offense does not warrant you to take my son from me. And from you for a while. And she got angry and started screaming at them. Next thing she saw, people came and they said she had mental issues. They injected her, took her to a ward. She woke up and found herself in a psychiatric ward. Do you know what the British did to us? When they came here, they didn't encourage Nigeria to have a mental health law. What they did was to give Nigeria a psychiatric law, whereby people who were having issues that were not chronic, not mental health issues that were chronic, were treated like people who were mad. When you go through the fire, I went through the fire because I was asked to speak in a conference on that issue. I went through it and I discovered that since then, Nigeria has never had a mental health law. Instead, Nigeria has been working with a law that was given to us by the military men of Britain. And that law says the moment you depict any act of misbehavior, you should end up in a psychiatric ward. Go and do your research. It is just recently in this democratic dispensation that people began to cry out in the National Assembly that we need a mental health law in Nigeria. So that's what happens to her. And till date, for years, now she's now insane. Somebody who was not insane. She's now insane. She tells me Madonna was her mother. And Michael Jackson was her brother, and she was stealing from Michael Jackson's. See what drugs do. So we need to be very, very careful how we manage our mental health. These things are very, 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 very important. So, I talk about biological factors that affect our mental health, like chemical imbalances in the brain, brain abnormalities. You see, the brain controls every part of our body. Your eyes, your heartbeat, your movements. It's the brain that controls everything. Now, when we don't take good care of our brains, we will begin to experience brain abnormalities. When there is, for instance, you must have heard of serotonin. When the serotonin level is low, which is especially in people who go through depression. When you go through depression, it means that your serotonin level is low. And when that serotonin level is low, what will happen to the person is that the person will begin to contemplate suicidality. That's suicidal thoughts. Okay? Now, this is why we need to arrest our thought patterns, which is what cognitive behavioral therapy does. Arrest the thought patterns, because these thoughts can flow in, and when these thoughts come to rest and you don't deal with it on time, it will trigger other issues in you, that the next thing you will be hearing inside of you is, there is nothing good about this world, there is nothing good about me, what am I doing here, why don't you just die? And then you just find yourself somewhere and you want to commit suicide. A personal friend counseled a lady. The lady ran to him and said, my fiance says he's no longer interested in the relationship. And you know what my friend told her? He said, that's before he told me. When he told me that the lady attempted suicide, okay, that was at Alagado area, that the lady attempted suicide. And after he counseled her, and I said, what happened? He told me that she said that fiance was no longer interested in the relationship, and the fiance, wasn't going out with another girl. I said, so what did you tell her? He said, I told her that she should not worry. God is in control. When one door closes, another door opens. And the lady went home, took sniper, opened. As she took the first drop, a woman walked in, saw her, screamed, took palm oil and began to pump it into her system. So they went straight to my friend's church. Pastors, God help us. Because this is why we need to be vast. We need to be vast. So they went straight into his office to insult him. And then he said, imagine, they were just abusing me and all of that. And I said, wait, Bishop. I said, first of all, let us thank the Lord that she didn't die. And number two, that you were really insulted with me. I said, because what you're telling me is that I will come to the station to come and write statement to bail you that you killed somebody. And he said to me, what do you mean by that? I can't say I killed somebody. I said, did you need to tell her that when God closes, another door opens? Because that wasn't supposed to be the counsel at that time. This person was already going through an emotional issue. You're saying that was adding fire and fuel to what the fire. So the lady just was immediately. As I went there, since he told us, I'm not even going to wait for another doctor, but this was my dog, so let me kill myself. So by the time I finished speaking with him, he saw reason why he shouldn't have said that. So, when we begin to deal with people, because every one of us here will relate with people, when you begin to deal with people who are having issues that are affecting their emotions and making them to behave somehow, and you don't know what to say or do about it, just tell them you need to see a counselor or a psychotherapist or a psychologist. It will do them good. So people go through issues, and because the brain controls every part of the human being, your emotions are subject to the information it receives from the neurotransmitter, from the brain. Okay? So whatever it says to your emotions is what you do. Our thoughts, our reactions are the outcome of our thoughts. Our thoughts act on what it receives. If my thought process tells me now that this person is evil and is planning to kill me, I will begin to see that person as an evil person. And what do you expect me to do? I'll begin to avoid that person and treat that person like an evil person. Because the information I receive from my brain is that this person is evil and wants to kill me. So this is why we have to be very careful with our thought patterns, our thought processes. Not every thought that flows through your mind you should pay attention to. Scan
Okay, so I think I've touched I'm also round up, please. I've taught genetic issues and some of the things, personality traits. So we don't just say I was born that way. Some of the traits we were born with are not the best. Okay? Now, when I was born, I grew up, and I used to like to fight. I didn't like to quarrel. Instead of me to quarrel, let us fight and resolve this matter. Because in trying to quarrel, when I get angry, I don't stammer, but when I get angry, I begin to stammer. So instead of putting myself in that kind of stress, let's do this thing with, So my friends at school those days, the moment we begin to quarrel, I didn't even know I was doing that. When the ones who now told me, I didn't know that when the moment I got angry, my right hand will be going behind me bit by bit. And the next thing they would just hear is push. When I became a Christian, I noticed that if I continue to react this way, the person I'm supposed to even preach to, I might box that person one day, and then one day I'll still be in the same street. I can't tell you, Jesus loves you. And then we're looking at me and say, well, you know the one who gave to watch the other day. What do you know about Jesus? So I began to speak to myself. This behavior is not correct. Cool down, correct. So over the years, there was one day a friend of mine took me to someone, they insulted him. Okay? In Abuja. They insulted him. And no, they insulted, it's a lady, a friend's wife. They insulted her. So she called on me, and then I called another of my friend. Then we went together. She wanted us to go and deal with the guy. So after, when we drove down there, as we got there, we came out from the car. As soon as my friend, she just pointed, that's the guy. As soon as my friend saw the guy, the first thing the guy was, Busa! So as he slapped the guy, I just went to him and held his hand and said, the lady went back and looked at me. And I told the guy, I said, sorry that he slapped you. Please go. And then the guy followed us. I said, explain to me what happened. Then the guy began to explain. After the guy finished explaining, I told him, I said, see, you don't insult a woman that way. I said, I decided to take this thing easy. Not because what you did was right. So instead of using my hand, I'll have to go back to Barak, just take you there, put you there, and drill you there. So you don't do that. The guy knelt down and started bleeding. Then we left. When we got home, my friend's wife, he said, Pastor, what happened to you? I said, how? He said, I thought that you would even be the one as soon as you see the guy, first of all, give him a good slap. But I was surprised that you didn't do that. What happened to you? You know what I said to her? I said, boy is good. And when boy is good, they become men. So I've grown.
Now you have.
We need to manage our mental health. Anger disorder is an issue. Stress, chronic stress is a disorder. It's an issue. Anxiety is a disorder. It's an issue. Mothers, please beware of these things. The Bible says be anxious for nothing. Mothers, They want things to be done now. I have a friend who is a mother. Yes. Let's do this one. Yes. Okay. This one too. Give me 5 assignments in one day. On the same. And I said, calm down. Now one by one. She now realized that she was working herself. She now said, Pastor, now the thing told me what inside of me, they look vexed. And I said, now you look vexed because you don't already get vexed. You are allowing the situation to work you out. I told my children, especially the 2 boys, I said, you see, my father is dead. I did not fight for any inheritance. I said, because before my father died, I told myself, there is nothing there for me to fight over. 14 children, you should not fight over what? So I told them, I said,
3 substitutes.
I have those 3 of you. But there is something you need to know. Because you are my sons, does not guarantee you access to inside riches if you misbehave. Only faithful servants have access to inside stories. And Proverbs says, a wise servant shall have rule over a son that causeth shame. I said, in this house, you guard the servant. But if you cause shame, don't think that everything I have will come to you. I brought the will that is to dogs. So Billy is still available everywhere. Bingo is still available everywhere. And when they win it to Billy or to Bingo, the government will take it and then share it. They will give it to motherless children, fatherless children, and all of that. So I've made them to understand that if you stress me too much, and your stress puts me where God has not put me, you'll be doing yourself. So, but at the same time, I have told myself I will not allow any child stress me beyond limit. If I lead you this way, I say, let's go. You say, no, let's go this way. You say, no, let's go this way. You say, no, I say, okay. Find your way. Since you know the way, children don't need parents. Parents need children. Since you know the way, you go your way. I'm going my way. Children advise parents when they get to that position, right? So, we need to watch our mental health very, very well. So I'm watching mine too. So I've told them, if I tell you this is how we should go and you don't want to follow it, I will leave you. I will not take the cost of you to die, because there are many people who still live there. Praise God. So we need to be very careful. And lastly, let me drop this. You also need to be careful with sleep issues. These are part of the causes of mental illness. If you don't sleep well, you can't enjoy perfect health. See, and all these things I have mentioned, you know, thank God I came with some of my books, Mama. Please. I've been able to explain to a good extent in the book. It's just small. What is it? These things that I've mentioned, they don't only impact on our psychological health, well-being depends so much on our psychological well-being. Don't let anybody deceive you. Your spiritual well-being depends so much on your psychological well-being. Why is it that God is not going to tell a madman to climb the altar to preach? Because he's mad. He cannot think straight. So which means God, our Creator, understands the place of quality reasoning. This morning, I woke up 6:30. After 6, I left home. Where did I go to? I went to jog and to do exercise. I ran 2 kilometers. Then began to do other form of exercise. After all, the Bible says what? Bodily exercise profited, even if it's little. There is need for exercise, physical exercise, some kind of rigorous exercise, because it helps the neurons to be active. It helps the neurons to be active. And when the neurons are active, when you study the Bible, or you are faced with some kind of situation that can break everybody down, you will have results with ease. You will have results with ease. When you don't sleep well, it can affect your body. When my elder brother was down for months, he was abusing somebody who can stay for 1 month. For 1 month, and he's not able to sleep. Every night, I became the watchman. I was singing for him to sleep. One of the nights I was singing and worshiping God, and I didn't even know what I was saying again. Because I was tired. And the moment I stopped singing, he woke up. So I went into the bathroom and I said, God, this thing that you are doing to me, I don't like it. I said, give me a good sleep now. Okay, I'll worship you. Why now? And it pained me. That's how I speak with my father. When it got me too bad, I go to him and I just talk to him like I'm talking to my father. And then I walked back into the room. And I saw my brother shedding tears. And I said, don't worry. God is on top of the matter. And today, he is doing well. Do you know what happened? Over there in the UK, instead of checking for what was wrong, they began to fire drugs into his system, antibiotics, because they did not know anything that they call typhoid and malaria. When the thing got so bad, after like 6 months, in the 7th month, I told him, come back to Nigeria. If they say, now from here, now they will do you, I said, come. Let's go to the enemy's camp and we'll collect the left back. We will know what's going on. He came here. After we went to see neurologists. Over there, we have seen neurologists, seen logists and different logists. We came here, we started the same process of spending thousands of dollars. In fact, we have spent over $1 million plus. What ended the matter? Traditional battle. Traditional battle. That did not even cost up to 30,000. When you don't take care of your psychological well-being, it can cause physical issues. Those physical issues can make you spend so much and return again and affect your psychological health. We must be very careful. I think for today, for now, I will stop here. Beware of anxiety. Beware of lack of sleep. Beware of lack of sleep. We need to sleep on time so that we can wake up on time. We need to sleep at the right time. And I'm sure we know by now that we need nothing less than 8 to 10 hours of sleep every day to be mentally sound. Nothing less than 8 to 10 hours every day. So those of you who like to press foods and the rest, be very careful. Another cause of psychological well-being is that thing, abuse. The moment we hear abuse, we used to call it abuse, substance abuse. In my profession, we don't call it abuse, we call it misuse. And the moment you hear substance abuse or substance misuse, the thing that comes to mind is what? Let me just ask. What comes to mind?
Drug.
Huh?
Drugs.
Substance misuse, what comes to mind?
Drugs.
Drugs. Correct. So mama, you see where we have an issue. What did they call it? Substance. Is drug the only substance that we have? Drugs. Drugs are not the only substance. It says substance misuse. We have edible substances and we have inedible substances. Right? The one that goes into your mouth, alcohol misuse, causes psychological illness, mental illness. Even overeating. When you eat too much, it can cause problems. Your use of phone is a substance. After all, matter is anything that has weight and occupies space. Your phone is a substance. If you misuse it, it will create problems for you, for your psychological well-being. So we need to be very, very careful with the way we live our lives every day. Addiction issues need to be looked into. What are you addicted